You can't make a cerebral Star Trek in 2016. Chris Pine is right. Cerebral Star Trek movies just don't work. Now, I can already hear you typing that angry comment, so I'm going to let you know what I mean by cerebral. To me, cerebral does not mean intelligent, or smart, or meaningful. Any genre can be intelligent, but cerebral is a specific storytelling style. When I hear that a movie or a television episode is cerebral, I think of a story that presents an issue or asks a question, and then explores that question in a narrative way. The plot itself explores the concept that it puts forward. Lots of Star Trek is cerebral in this way. Darmok is a cerebral episode because the core of the narrative revolves around a single question. Can Starfleet effectively cooperate with an alien species they can't understand? The issue itself is the plot. Measure of a Man explores the question of whether or not a machine can be considered a person, and the actual plot is the characters figuring out the answer to that question. So Star Trek has definitely done cerebral successfully, but I wouldn't consider it a defining trait of the series, because Star Trek is a patchwork of narrative styles and genres, and a large bulk, I dare say most, of Star Trek stories aren't cerebral at all. But remember, cerebral does not equal intelligent. The Voyage Home is a comedy film through and through. It's still an intelligent movie that raises very interesting questions. Are humans the only intelligent life on Earth? If aliens visited us, why do we think they would be interested in us? Into Darkness is clearly an action thriller, but it explores heavy issues such as the price of security in uncertain times, whether it's truly worth it to sell your soul in the pursuit of justice. And I think this is the realm where Star Trek really thrives. The original series is a prime example of this. Turns out that even Gene Roddenberry admitted that cerebral stories wouldn't really work in Star Trek's climate. In 1966, why are we suddenly angry when somebody admits the same thing 50 years later? The original series was rarely a cerebral show. It was sensational. It was action-packed, it was sexy, but it still explored issues and questions in an intelligent and meaningful way. And sometimes not. And that's what Star Trek was. We had murder mysteries, we had survival stories, courtroom drama, comedy, war stories. Star Trek wasn't really cerebral until Gene tried his rebooted, stiff, colorless motion picture, which was only a success because people were hungry to see Star Trek on the big screen. But hardly anybody actually likes it. So it's no surprise that Star Trek couldn't get rid of that cerebral stuff fast enough. The next film was a black and white action-adventure revenge story. You can't do cerebral in, say, 1982. And you can't do it in 2016 either. And that's okay. Because maniacal, revenge-bent villains, political intrigue, and action-adventure are all, interestingly enough, still pure Star Trek.